intro, and then you'll learn more about our services. And then we'll offer time at the end to do some Q&A where you can ask us some questions. So my name is Sonia, and I am the Basic Needs Coordinator for Benefits at SJSU Cares. And I'll pass it over to my colleague, Giselle.
Hi, everyone. I'm Giselle, and I'm a Basic Needs Coordinator, specifically for housing. Nancy, go ahead.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy Taylor. I'm one of the case managers at SJSU Cares.
And hi, everyone. My name is Branch Cuneta. I'm the Basic Needs Coordinator for the Spartan Food Pantry.
Thank you. So some of you might have heard about us before, or maybe you've seen us tabling because we do a lot of outreach events. We participate in a lot of them. And if this is your first time ever hearing about us, that's even better. We're really happy to introduce ourselves. And then for folks that have heard about us, I hope that this can be a refresher for you all. And so who are we? So we're SJSU Cares, and our mission, we partner with students on overcoming barriers to their basic needs and well-being by offering holistic and personalized support, resources, and referrals. And we do this with our team. We have a basic needs program we have basic needs coordinators, and we each have a specific area that we focus on. So like in our titles, we have benefits, we have housing, and we have the Spartan Food Pantry. And then we also have case management services that's led by Nancy. She's our primary case manager. And so you'll learn more about this as we continue with the slides. And then within the services that we offer, you'll receive some emergency assistance, housing support, food resources, and even referrals for mental health services. These are just some of the things. And now I'd like to pass it over to Branch, who will discuss her role and the support she provides.
Hi, everyone. Again, thank you for having us. Okay, so let me see. We have like a huge room or like a huge number of people in here, and I'll be asking a few questions, and the way that you can answer me is through the chat or maybe through the reactions. Okay, so within all the 40 people here, could you guys react like a heart if you have been to the Spartan Food Pantry, or if you're familiar with the Spartan Food Pantry? Can I see those reactions? Can I get some hearts? There you are. Awesome. Alrighty. And then can I please get a balloon reaction for those who are not so familiar with the Spartan Food Pantry yet? All right. Okay. So a little bit. Okay. I see one. I see some balloons. Okay. Thank you for your honesty. And so that's why I'm here, to let you guys know about it. And so the Spartan Food Pantry is a food assistance program for those who are food insecure on our campus. And so what is it that we have at the Spartan Food Pantry? We have produce like vegetables and fruits, dry goods, anything that's shelf stable, like rice, canned corn. We also have bread sometimes, alternative milk, and sometimes when we're lucky, we have pasta and beans. And for the cold zone, we have milk, sometimes we have eggs, and we have frozen items as well, and minimal toiletries. And so who do we serve? They have to be currently enrolled students who are experiencing food insecurity. Okay, I have another question. Who here skipped their breakfast this morning? Can I get a heart reaction? Uh-oh. Alrighty, we have breakfast skippers here. Who here skipped lunch today? I did. Let me put a heart react. Alrighty. It has to be a broken heart, I would say. But so on campus, with all the students that we have here, I'm sure there's a lot of people who have been skipping meals as well. It doesn't have to be like just breakfast or lunch, and we all have different reasons. Some students, I would bet, they chose more sleep rather than rather than making time for breakfast, or maybe they're just not used to eating breakfast. But some of these students may have skipped their meals just because of they may not have the enough financial resources to make breakfast or to buy breakfast. And so this is where the supportive food pantry comes in to provide that resource again for them. Next, please. All right, thank you. So when are we open? We're open Monday to Friday. This is for this semester. We are at 10 a.m. We're open from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And for the fall semester, our last day should be, I think, December 17th, and we will be reopening again by spring. And then we are located at the Student Union, and as Juan said earlier, directions are a bit hard to give on this campus, but if you are familiar at this in about Jamba Juice in the Student Union, just go to the nearest exit of the Student Union there, and you should be on the left. All right, so we're just like facing engineering building. All right. And then let's see. And then as you can see on these pictures, we also have the freezer on the left picture. It shows the frozen meals that we have. This is something that when available, you can take as much as you'd like if you're an eligible user. That way you don't have to worry about preparing or buying a meal. These are frozen, reheatable meals. We have vegetarian options and we also have chicken or pork. So hopefully you get to try those if you're interested in using the pantry. Next up. Okay, so these are like basically the few questions that we get about the Sparta Food Pantry, which helps us introduce it as well. And so how does one student use the pantry? So you're welcome to use it once a week, wherein you'd be checking in, shopping, and then checking out. And we only ask that you take what you need, as we are also serving another like 1,000 students every week. However, it does say once per week, but if you'd like more of the frozen meals, you're welcome to come back sooner, just for the frozen meals, the orange containers that we've seen in the previous slides. And if you think that you might be eligible or you might be in need of assistance, please sign up. I'm gonna put the link on our chat. This is the sign up form to see if you're eligible to use the pantry. And this is free. Again, it has to be for currently enrolled students. And you have to make sure that you provide all the information needed. And please, for those who might be hesitant to ask for help, if you need the help and we have the help, it's meant for you. So please don't be shy. All right. And then we'll open questions later. If you have any questions, write them for now, but you're also welcome to chat them and I'll be answering through virtually. Again, my name is Branch Caneta. I'm the Basic Needs Coordinator for the Sparta Food Pantry, and I'm always here happy to help you if you have any questions.
Thank you so much, Branch. All right, so I'll be taking on these next couple of slides. Like I mentioned earlier, my role is support with benefits, and the program that I primarily help students with is CalFresh Food, which is a government assistance program that provides money for groceries. And nationally, it's known as the SNAP, the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program. And back in the day, it used to also be known as like the food stamp program. So you might hear that, but we don't normally use it as a way to advertise for CalFresh Food anymore. But for some folks, if you say food stamps, they are familiar with it. And so with CalFresh Food, like I mentioned, it's money for groceries. And with this program, you'll receive monthly cash supplement loaded onto a debit card, also known as an EBT card, and you can use this to purchase groceries. And this program has helped so many students who are experiencing budget restraints. And right here, I have an image of what that debit card looks like. And you can use it at most grocery stores. You can also use it at some farmers markets. And you can get some perks with being a CalFresh food user. For example, you can have a reduced Amazon Prime account. You can reduce costs. You can attend or go to some of the local museums and even some amusement parks at a discounted rate, sometimes even free for some of the museums. And then with EBT cards, the amount that you receive varies. Some folks can get from $23 all the way to $298. And this amount, we'll talk more about it, but it's based on income. And here is what the website looks like, Benefits Cal. There used to be a different one called Get Cal Fresh, but that one is no longer being used. So please make sure that if you're interested in applying and you put in the search function, Cal Fresh Food, that it looks like this, Benefits Cal. So if you're interested in applying, there are some eligibility requirements for students. You need to meet the first part, all of the bullet points in that first block. So you need to be either a U.S. citizen or a permanent California resident. You have to be between the ages of 18 to 49 when you're applying for CalFresh Food as a student. And then if you are under the age of 22 and you're living with your parents, you will need to apply with your parents and include their income. But then let's say you turn 22, and you still are living with your parents, you can apply on your own. If you are buying your own groceries and making your own meals, you'll be considered a separate household. But if you're under 22, you will need to include your parents if you're living with them. And then you also need to be enrolled at least half-time or more as a San Jose State college student. And you can't be on a campus meal plan with 11 or more swipes per week. So I often get a lot of students that are on campus that want to apply, but if you're on a meal plan that allows you to use the dining commons Monday through Friday or Monday through Sunday, you will most likely not be eligible. And then I have here a little bullet point that a full meal plan is required for all students living in CVC, Joe West, Washburn Hall, and CV2. So if you're in one of those full meal plans, you won't be eligible. But let's say you end up moving out or you switch to a different dorm. You're either in CVA, CVB, and SVP, and you're on a community plan, you might be eligible. You also need to be mentally and physically fit for work. And so, like I said, you need to meet all of the top bullet points. And you also need to meet at least one of the following bullet points below to meet the mandatory student exemption in order to apply. And I'm saying so much information, and I really do not expect you all to remember this. But it's good exposure. I'm here. You can reach out to me so that we can do one-on-one. But I just want to, expose y'all to what the eligibility requirements are. So continuing on with the mandatory student exemptions, you need to meet one of them. So that can be working a minimum of 20 hours per week, having a child or dependent of 12 or younger, receiving Cal Grant A or B that's TANF funded. And TANF funded, that refers to the Cal Grant A or B being funded through a welfare program. And then being in what's called a local program that increases employability. I'll talk more about this in the next slide, but the good thing to know is that EOP is considered an LPIE program. So if all of y'all here are EOP students, you'll be eligible to apply. And then the other thing is participating in work study. So you only need to meet one of these. And some more information about the LPIE program. So local programs that increase employability, what that refers to is there are approved majors and programs that are preparing students for the workforce. And here at San Jose State University, we have over 200 majors that are LPIE eligible. And so many students don't know that. So like I said, since you're an EOP student, you are eligible to apply. And what do you do next? What do you need to do? So here's the email. I'll put it in the chat. And I also put the LPIE request form. Fill the request form out or email us. And then you'll fill out this Google form. I'll get a notification and my CalFresh food team will get a notification as well. We'll verify that you're an EOP student or that your major is eligible. And then you're going to get a letter that looks like this. When you receive this letter, you'll want to upload this to your application. And that would allow you to meet the mandatory student exemption to apply. So that's the LPIE request form. Or like I said, you can email us and I'll put our email closer towards the end of my presentation. And so CalFresh Food, let's say you meet the student exemption. You also have to meet the income guidelines. And I'm just going to briefly allow y'all to look at this. I won't go in too deep, but the main takeaways is that your gross monthly income is what the county looks at first. So if you are working, the amount that you make before taxes is what the county is going to look at first, and then the amount that you take home. So for example, for a household of one, in order to be eligible for benefits and receive the full 298, your gross monthly income before taxes needs to be 1,696. If it's a little bit higher than that, I still recommend for you to apply because there are some deductions that the county can use. For example, if you're paying for rent or utilities, that can help decrease your gross monthly income, and you may be eligible for some amount. It might not be the full 298, but it might be something. And right now, any little bit helps, you know? And financial aid is not counted as income. So that's something important to share, that if you're not working, but you're receiving financial aid, that's typically not counted as income. So if you're interested in applying, we're here. So what to expect if you want for applying for CalFresh? One, check if you're eligible. You can do that by meeting with us, with the CalFresh food team, or you can review the eligibility guidelines on your own, and I'll put that in the chat. You can check out our CalFresh food website. And let's say you're like, okay, I'm interested, and I do meet the stuff. All right, now the next step would be to create an account at benefitscal.com. And then you'll submit that application. And after you submit the application, the county is going to review it. It can take up to a month or two for the county to contact you, and you'll have an interview with the county. And that interview is mandatory, and it's important to do it so that you can know if you're eligible for benefits. You have the option of doing this interview either in person or over the phone. If you do it over the phone, just be on the lookout for any random numbers with your area code, because that could be the county calling. And then once you have that interview, you're going to receive a notice of approval or denial for benefits. And then if you're approved, you're going to receive the EBT card in the mail. And every 6 months, you'll have to recertify. If you need help with any of this, we're here. We have the CalFresh food team ready to support you. And so some more information about the application process. It typically takes about 30 to 60 minutes to complete. And there are some documents that you'll want to upload. And here are some examples of that. So you'll want to upload proof of identity, and that can be a picture of your driver's license, your tower ID card, or even a passport image. Proof of income, if you're working, you want to upload your most recent pay stub that shows not only the amount that you got paid, but what was the amount before taxes. You will also want to include a screenshot of financial aid if you're receiving that. Take a screenshot of your financial aid award year, and you can find that at your My SJSU. When you log in, that portal, check the Finances tab and click your 2026 award year. And then, like I said, EOP students are LPIE eligible, so you'll want to upload that letter as well. And just, these are like the main things you want to put when you first apply, but depending on personal situations, you might need to add some other documents, and your caseworker would let you know. And so then before you begin your application, like I've mentioned, make an account, and you're going to make it at benefitscal.com. What does this allow you to do, and why is it important? So not only will you be able to check the progress of your application, there's going to be a little tracker. You can also use this account to upload any documents that you might have forgotten or that the county requests. You'll be able to recertify. You won't need to, go in person or submit any paper forms. You can do it all on that portal. The county, they send messages through the mail, but they also use this portal to send you messages too. So you want to be able to log in and just check to see if they've given you any updates on your application or your interview. So again, I can't stress it enough, but make an account is really helpful. And you can also use it to apply for other benefit programs like Medi-Cal or CalWorks. Right now, we don't really focus on Medi-Cal or CalWorks application assistance, but we can help you get connected to community resources that do. So if you're interested in the other programs like Medi-Cal or CalWorks, please reach out. We'll connect you with the community organizations that are focused on those programs and can help you. And then let's say you're not eligible for CalFresh food. We do have other community resources that we can connect you to, such as Second Harvest of Silicon Valley. They have a food locator, and I'll put that food locator in the chat. And with this little link, you click it, you put your zip code in, and it'll show you where there's local pantries that you can go to for fresh food and hot meals. So fresh groceries and hot meals. Sorry. And then we also have Martha's Kitchen that offers hot meals, Sacred Heart Community Services that offers food and clothing, as well as no prep meals, ready to eat meals. So let's say you don't have a kitchen, they'll have stuff ready to go. And then Loaves and Fishes Family Kitchen of San Jose, they offer hot meals. So check these out, and I'll add those in the chat. So lastly, we're here to support. If you want those additional resources, getting connected to any other account. I'm sorry. Again, lastly, we're here to support. If you would like to get connected to any community organizations or would like support with your application, or even just to see if you're eligible, we're here. I'm gonna add my contact info and links for y'all to make appointments. We also offer drop-in hours, and we'll share that with Juan so he can share it with y'all whenever we host them. Okay.
Hi, everyone. Like I mentioned earlier, my name is Giselle and I support students with off-campus housing search. So some things that what I can mainly support students with is their off-campus housing search. So I'm happy to meet with students who are maybe moving out of the dorms, moving out of their parents' house, renting or leasing for the first time. I'm happy to meet and discuss different housing resources, especially based on your budget, location preferences, if you want roommates, what your transportation situation looks like. And I always try to go over some information first, especially if you haven't rented before. So some of the information I could go over would be, what is a lease agreement? What to do if you don't have credit history, how you can budget, how to look out for scams, and then, of course, most importantly, where to search for housing. Some other things that I can help support with is make referrals for legal resources. Maybe you're having issues with your landlord. I can connect you to tenant landlord legal resources, as well as maybe some rental and deposit assistance resources. Some students sometimes will need assistance paying for one-time month of rent. And if you meet our community organization's requirements, then you can definitely reach out and see if that's a good fit for you. So some expectations that I have of a student when we meet is that you have a budget, and then, other preferences in mind. And then with your budget in mind, we can filter your search to see, do you want an apartment? Do you want maybe a roommate or your own room in a private home, or your private room in a home? Then we can search for that. And then if you don't have a budget, that's okay. Maybe if you're experiencing an unforeseen circumstance where you're couch surfing, maybe you're experiencing housing insecurity, then that's when I can connect you to a case manager who can provide some of those more urgent resources, which Nancy will go over later, such as emergency housing, which is temporary housing, or through our rapid rehousing program as well. And then my hope is that after the meeting, the student leaves and is comfortable and confident enough to navigate their own housing search and eventually secure housing of their own. So usually throughout the meeting, I'll share my housing agenda with the student. It's pretty long. and it'll be the one on the all the way to the right. It's a pretty long agenda, so we'll go over that. Go over a detailed over each section in case the student again is renting for the first time. This middle one, where the red arrow is pointing, that you can find on the SJSU Cares website, and I believe Sonia put it on the chat. So if you want to do a self-guided housing search, or you need some rental and deposit assistance, some other resources, then you can locate that on our website. And then, of course, here's my contact information. I'm happy to meet with you either in person or via Zoom. And then here's my contact information. If you want to schedule a meeting, there's my Zoom link. If you want to call to schedule a meeting, if you have a quick question, and there's my email as well. Thank you, Sonia.
Hi, everyone. I'm Nancy, and I'm one of the case managers. I'm going to go over a little bit about what we do in case management. So we're really here to help students who are experiencing some type of unforeseen crisis or emergency affecting their basic needs. So all of our other team members are able to help support in their areas, and our area is really focused in case management on that unforeseen situation. We have a lot of on-campus referrals, as well as off-campus community resources that we can refer students to depending on their situation. In housing, if students are unhoused or not in a safe housing environment, then we can have students with temporary emergency housing in our university housing. So we have 12 beds in UHS that students can access through a case manager if they are unhoused. They're usually very temporary. It's typically 2 nights to 2 weeks that students are eligible to stay. And then sometimes, we can extend that up to 28 days, depending on the situation and the long-term plan. If a student is also experiencing homelessness and looking for a longer term solution, we do have a partnership with a community agency called Bill Wilson Center for rapid rehousing, which Giselle mentioned earlier. And we can make that referral if students meet the eligibility criteria. Students have to be in good academic standing with a GPA above a 2.0, enrolled in 6 units, and willing and able to take on a year-long lease. So students have to qualify for the lease on their own with their own credit history, their own income, et cetera. But we can make that referral, and the Bill Wilson Center can help students find that housing, but then can also help subsidize those leases. So for their program, they subsidize 100% for the first 3 months. They can also provide a bed if that's something the student needs. And then for the second 3 months, it's 75% subsidized. The third 3 months, 50% subsidized. And the last 3 months is 25% subsidized. So the student needs to be comfortable with the lease, knowing that they are going to be taking over their share of that. So it's really good to help students get up and running in housing, but it's not the right fit for everyone. So we do have other community organizations that we refer students to who need longer term support, and we can make that referral. We also do have meal plans. So if students are in temporary emergency housing, we do want to make sure that they have access to food. And so we are able to provide meal swipes to the dining commons during that time when students are in temporary emergency housing. We can also set students up with overnight parking who are in our temporary emergency housing program as well. We also have crisis funding available. So that would be for students who are experiencing some type of unforeseen economic crisis. Unfortunately, we can't help with tuition or university housing expenses or any university expenses. But if there is an unforeseen crisis or situation that's happening that's affecting a student's ability to stay enrolled in school, we want to help them and really work through whatever that situation might be and possibly provide crisis funds. It is limited in the amount, and it's also limited to 1 time per academic year for students. And I would say probably the most common thing we might see is something related to transportation, where students may have a car accident or an unforeseen car repair. We can't help with the routine maintenance on cars, but maybe something unforeseen and the student needs their car for work or school. That may be something we'd be able to help out with. Same with medical expenses. If there's some type of unforeseen medical situation that happens, we may be able to help with that. We can also help with rent, not university housing, unfortunately, but if a student is living in the community and they are behind on rent or have an eviction notice, then we definitely may be able to help out with crisis funds in that situation as well. We also prefer or like to think of ourselves as that single point of contact. So we want to have that ongoing relationship with a student. We want to understand their situation and kind of see ourselves as a hub in our office, and then there's like this hub and spokes, right? And so we can refer students out. We may not have the answer right away for you, but we want students to feel comfortable and confident coming to us and asking whatever questions so that we can then provide the right resource so that students can get access. So we help students navigate all sorts of situations, whether it be things through financial aid or a retroactive withdrawal for a situation that may have happened in a previous semester. Anything that we can help support, we're willing to and able to help students sort of navigate some of those university processes. I think that's all. And the next slide, I think, has our contact information. So that's my contact information. Our director is Kidnell Jean, and his contact information is there, as well as James Urson, who is the department coordinator and analyst. Feel free to reach out. Our information about how to fill out a request for assistance for case management is on our website, on our SJSU Cares website. And there's a spot where you can just click on request assistance now. And that's really the best point of access. I know Sonia and Giselle have their booking links on our website as well, but if you wanted to request assistance to schedule an appointment with a case manager, doing that request for assistance form on our website is the best place to get started with that. Any questions? I know any of the four of us are happy to answer questions. You can obviously reach out on the slide with any of our contact information. You can reach out to us with any of the links that Sonia's provided in the chat, but you can also unmute and or type in the chat yourself if you have any questions for us right now.
So when you meet up with the students, to discuss about like any crisis, is it gonna be in person or over the Zoom?
Yeah, so right now I would send an initial outreach email to a student and a text message typically. And in that there's my booking link, which then would allow students to schedule with me via phone, Zoom, or in person. And I would say the vast majority of students do so virtually, either phone or Zoom. I'm more than happy to meet in person, but I know it's maybe more convenient for students to meet another way. So any way that works for you works for me.
Perfect. And then I think in the past we have, I got some questions, from students when it comes to one of the requirements for the EBT or the CalFresh. Some students thought